Today we're looking at conditional statements. When I have a conditional statement, it's a statement that can be written as an if-then statement, such as if P, then Q. Remember, the hypothesis is the word that comes after the if, and the conclusion comes after the word then. If you buy the cell phone, there's my hypothesis, you buy the cell phone, then you will receive 10 free ringtone downloads. Sometimes you need to rewrite your conditional statement so that it's in if-then form. So if you have a problem that says a person who practices putting will improve her golf game, you can write it as an if-then conditional statement by saying if a person practices putting, then she will improve her golf game. A conditional statement has a false truth value only if the hypothesis, the H part, is true and the conclusion is false. In the first set of sections, we're going to be underlining the hypothesis, and you're double underlining the conclusion. So if I'm looking at my first three statements, if x is an even number, then x is divisible by 2. My if part, x is an even number, is my hypothesis. X is divisible by 2 is my conclusion. My second sentence, the circumference of a circle is 5 par inches if the diameter of the circle is 5 inches. Note that the if is at the end of the sentence, but it still is my hypothesis here. If the diameter of the circle is 5 inches, and my conclusion is still the piece that doesn't have the if. In this case, you don't see the word then. The conclusion comes at the beginning of my sentence. Then the circumference, let's hit a double underline, is 5 pi inches. Statement 3 is written in the standard if-then form. If a line containing the points x, j, k, and l lie in a plane, that is my hypothesis. Then j, k, and l are coplanar, that is my conclusion. For the next set of exercises, we are writing a conditional statement from the given statement, so I need to make this an if-then. Statement 4 says congruent segments have equal measures. I want to write that as if my segments are congruent. If my segments are congruent, then they have equal measures. It's hard for me to write on this board, so I'm going to skip writing number 5. You may go ahead and write it. My statement says on Tuesday, play practice is at 6 o'clock. I would write if it is Tuesday, then play practice is at 6 o'clock. Question number 6 deals with a Venn diagram showing me that I have a set of adjacent angles and I have sets of linear pairs as a subset of the adjacent angles. So I could write if it is a linear pair, then the angles are adjacent. In question number 7, we want to know if the conditional statement is true or false. If it's false, give a counterexample. The statement says if two angles are supplementary, then they form a linear pair. Supplementary just means that they add up to 180 degrees. Do they have to be a linear pair? You should be able to draw a counterexample for me for that one. I could draw two angles. An angle that's 100 degrees here, and an angle over here that's 80 degrees. And I know that they'll add up to a supplementary set of angles. 100 plus 80 equals 180, but they are not formed from adjacent rays. They are not opposite rays with adjacent sides. They're not a linear pair.